Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to see what kind of finishing touches we can give this thing to make it look good. So far we've got a lot of detail done. We've covered a lot of different techniques. Let's see what else we can do. As you can see, there's these rivets on the back metal fold. They're kind of all over the place. They're also in this area too. They're all over the place. There's rivets and there's screws. I'm going to go ahead and do a rivet that I can then clone and duplicate and basically place all over the object just to give it some more detail. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to unhide by name. And I can do that by going to the quad menu. It's right there. And I'm going to unhide the rear metal fold. And I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to create a cylinder, because the cylinder is the shape that most closely resembles one of these rivets or a screw or something like that. So let me go over here to my perspective view. I'm going to move this forward like this. I'm going to give this thing a good amount of sides, so maybe I'll go for about 24. Looks pretty good. In terms of height segments and cap segments, I'll leave that at 1. I'm happy with the radius and everything, so I'm going to convert this to an editable poly. I'm going to select this polygon, hit Control I to invert the selection and get everything else, and I'm going to hit Delete to get rid of that stuff, because I only want this polygon right here. So with this polygon selected, what I'm going to do is pretty simple. I'm going to go to Inset, and I'm going to inset that about that much. Actually looks pretty good. I'm going to hit Apply and Continue to inset again. I'm going to inset this about right there. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to move this in like so, just a bit like that. I'm going to go to Edge Mode. I'm going to select this edge, grab the whole ring. I'm going to go to my Connect tool. I'm going to connect that once, hit OK. I'm going to move this connection or this loop forward like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Chamfer. I'm going to chamfer this a good amount, almost to the edges, and I'm going to give this a good amount of segments. Something like 8 or 9 looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this polygon that's in center, control click the edges over here to grab the loop of edges all the way around it. And I'm going to chamfer those as well. So I'm going to hit chamfer and chamfer to about right there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. And I'll end up with something that looks like this. I'm going to select the border right here. Hold down Shift and move it back to give this thing a little bit of thickness, like so. See that? Now right now it looks all faceted, so as you know already, we've done this about 100 times already. I'll select all the polygons. I'll go over here and do a smooth on it. And now it looks pretty good. So now it looks more like a rivet type object. And if I wanted to, maybe I could take this polygon, extrude that in a little bit like this. I don't know, it just makes it look a little bit more interesting or something. Maybe I'll even scale it down. But now I'm kind of just nitpicking and stuff with it. I'm going to have to smooth those polygons out as well. Okay, I'm going to say it looks pretty good. I'm going to be happy with that. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy. Let me move my pivot point to the center of the object there. And I'm going to move that to about right there. Now, according to the image, this is placed pretty much perfectly. However, in our 3D scene, it doesn't match up with the metal fold, so I'm going to move it up. I'm going to make it match up in the 3D scene. Reference images are great, but in the end, it's the 3D parts that you're working on that have to look good together, or else it's just going to look bad. So I'm going to come over here, hold down Shift, and make a clone of this and move it over to this side. I'm going to hit OK, one copy. I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to hold down Shift, move him down over here. I'm going to come over here to my perspective view. Looks like it's a little bit too big for that metal fold area, so what I'll do is, let me go over here to the Hierarchy tab. I'm going to go to Effect Pivot Only. I'm going to place this center to Object. I'm going to scale that down a little bit. I'm going to move it over here to the right just a bit and move it into the object. It's okay if it touches it and penetrates it just a little bit. That's fine. Come back to this view. I'm going to make the clone, and right there, I'm going to make a few copies. Just start moving these copies into position. Like so. I think I'm going to need a few more copies. Okay, I think you get the idea. This is kind of redundant now. It's the same process over and over. Just, you know, clone, move it, scale it, position it, make it look good with the 3D object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead in the video, I'm going to let you work on your object. I'm going to work on mine. And when we're both finished placing these rivets all over the model, we'll meet up and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so I went ahead and I basically populated my object with a bunch of these little rivets. All I did was, clone them, make them different sizes, place them around different areas of the back here until I was pretty happy. So you can go ahead and place as many of these as you want, or just create different kinds, different types of screw heads for Phillips head screws, flat head screws, different things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here, and in the next one we'll start to clean up this stuff and finish off any stuff that we may be missing so far.